always look so beautiful when I finish brushing your hair. Have I told you lately that I love you? Ridge is going to be just fine. I'm going to have time to feed you lunch today, too. I wish I could tell you some good news and some good thoughts about Thorne.
How's our girl?
Just as beautiful as ever.
How are you feeling? You look a little tired.
I am. It's just everything at the house.
Well, at least there's the good news about Ridge.
Yes. Thank God for that.
Well, I just wanted to check in.
Todd, could I talk to you for a minute? Can we sit down?
Of course.
I guess you know me just about as well as anyone, don't you?
We've been through the wars together.
We have, haven't we? A couple of them victorious. At least we still have Angela.
Yes, indeed.
Tell me something. Does she have a memory?
A memory?
Mm-hmm.
No, not as we understand it.
That's because the brain just never really developed.
Well, there are a lot of things that we as doctors still don't quite understand about the mechanics of memory. But basically, your explanation is as good as any. Why do you ask?
Just curious. Tell me, what could cause a normal adult to lose his or her memory?
What is it, Thorne? What the hell happened to me?
You got shot.
Shot?
Yeah.
Good God, in the head?
Just relax. You're gonna be all right. You were incredibly lucky. Somehow the bullet never penetrated your brain. Look, I'm gonna let you rest a little bit. I'll come back later.
Thorne.
Yeah.
There's something I have to know. Who shot me, little brother? Who did this to me?
I wish to God I knew.
You say it happened outside the house, in the back?
Yeah.
A stray bullet? Someone with a rifle out in the hills? What?
It wasn't a rifle.
What was it?
From what I hear, a handgun. Small caliber.
How? Why? Where did the bullet come from?
Close range, Rich.
Close range? You mean whoever shot me was right there on the property?
Yeah, that's right. Almost directly behind you.
No one knows who it was.
Well, the police are speculating it might have been a prowler.
Are you serious?
Hey, just take it easy. You shouldn't be getting up. Come on.
Are you telling me that the police think it was a burglar that snuck up behind me and shot me in the head?
Do you have a better explanation?
Storm, hi. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
How's Ridge?
Well, he's doing better every day.
Good.
Come on in.
Where is everybody?
They're all out.
You're alone here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think that's a very good idea after what happened the other night? Brooke, Why don't you come home for a few days?
Storm, when I said I was here alone, I didn't mean completely alone.
Right. I forgot. You have maids and servants and gardeners.
Yes, so don't worry. This place is like Fort Knox.
Well, the other night it wasn't.
Yeah, I know. But I'm not here that much anymore. In fact, I was on my way to the hospital.
Well, how's the rest of the family handling it?
Oh, they're all pretty uptight. Especially Stephanie.
She's still leaning on you?
Naturally. You should have seen her reaction when I told her Lieutenant Burke stopped by.
Burke?
The police investigator.
Is he here to see Stephanie?
He came to see me.
But you? Why?
He just wanted to ask me some questions.
Why didn't you call me?
Storm, it's not like I'm a suspect.
Well, what did he ask you?
Some things about Ridge, his enemies.
I thought this guy was after a prowler.
He is, but he hasn't found one yet.
So he was over here fishing, huh?
You know, I get the distinct impression that this Lieutenant Burke isn't convinced it is a prowler.
Well, what gave you that impression?
Oh, some of the questions he asked.
What's an open case, Brooke? They don't have a suspect. They're going to be looking in all directions.
Maybe.
You think there's more?
I don't know. Maybe I'm way off base.
Well, tell me, what do you think?
Well, he did some research
What kind of research?
on the family. He even dug up some old articles about Ridge and Caroline and the wedding.
Well, this guy is on a fishing trip. You mentioned Stephanie earlier. She got uptight?
Yes, when she heard the police came by.
Well, she's probably just airing it out on you. She's got to be under a lot of stress.
Normally, I would agree.
But?
But she even got more upset when I mentioned Thorne to the police.
Well, why would that bother her?
Search me, but it sure did.
What did she say to you?
Brooke, my dear, there is a way to talk to the police.
Yeah, you tell them the truth.
Which is exactly what I told her.
And how did she respond to that?
She accused me of misleading them.
What did you tell the police?
I told them that Thorne had no reason to be jealous of Ridge, which is true.
Brooke, it's common knowledge that those two were in competition for Caroline at one time.
They were in competition. Thorne and Caroline are married now.
Yeah, it is kind of stretching it. Especially with you living here with Ridge. Look, just take it easy with Stephanie. Like I said, she's got to be totally stressed out.
I am trying. Believe me, I'm trying. Well, I better get to the hospital.
Need a lift?
No thanks, I have my car.
What, you're not taking the limo?
How would you like a big old pie in the face, huh?
Only if it's caviar.
Well, we'll see what we can do about that.
Look, I'm sure this is all a little overwhelming for you.
I wake up here, find out I've been shot in the head, that someone tried to kill me, and I'd say that's a little overwhelming. What happened after I was shot?
Apparently, Mother saw it all from the bedroom.
Mother saw me get shot.
Well, that's not completely clear. Anyway, she's the one that rushed out there and found you lying there. And then she called the ambulance.
Where was everyone else?
Well, Caroline was in New York.
I know when Brooke was over visiting your brother and sisters.
Yeah. Dad was in the shower.
And what about you?
I was in bed, out like a light.
You slept through the whole thing?
I'm sorry. I'd taken one of Mother's sleeping pills.
She mentioned that to me.
I'm sorry I was asleep. If I'd have been awake, the bastard never would have got off the grounds, Ridge.
Yeah, thanks. Seeing as the guy had a gun, I'm glad that you were sacked out. Have the police been brought in?
Oh, yeah, better believe it. Guy named Lieutenant Burke. He's talking to everybody.
Any suspects?
No, none that I know of.
Tell me something, Thorne. Your gut reaction. Do you think it was a prowler that shot me?
Lieutenant, I'm sure you've heard this many times before, but I'm really not certain I'm going to be able to help you.
Well, people tend to see and hear a lot more than they realize, Mr. Forrester. You put it all together, and sometimes you get a clear picture of what actually happened.
Please. I was under the impression that my wife gave you a pretty clear picture of what happened.
Yes, sir, and don't think of me as being critical of your wife. I don't know how I would have reacted in the same situation, but her version of what she saw could have been colored by the enormous emotion of standing there, helpless, and watching her son being shot.
Are you telling me you think Stephanie has given you a distorted view of what happened?
I'm saying that anything is possible. Now, your wife says the dogs were barking, which is why your son Ridge went outside in the first place. Do the dogs normally bark at night?
It's not unusual. We have coyotes, deer, we have a lot of wildlife up there in the canyon.
Yes, sir, I'm aware of that. Have they ever barked at intruders?
We've never had intruders before.
Tell me about Ridge. How long was he at home before he went outside to check on the dogs?
Well, frankly, I wasn't even aware he was at home.
You didn't hear the car drive up at some point?
If I did, I didn't notice. I may have thought it was Thorne. We were looking for him earlier.
You say you were looking for your other son, Thorne?
Mm-hmm. We had thought he was at home.
And did you find him?
No, we didn't.
What could cause a normal adult to lose their memory? Any number of things.
A blow to the head?
That's certainly one of them.
How exactly does it work, a loss of memory?
If we're going to use a blow to the head as an example, the shock from the blow could damage the pathway in the brain that causes recall, thus loss of memory. Admittedly, it's a bit simplistic.
Well, besides a physical injury, is there anything else that could cause a loss of memory?
Various diseases.
And alcohol and drugs? Or a combination thereof?
Do I think it was a prowler?
Well, do you?
My gut reaction.
That's what I'm asking for.
Gut reaction about what?
Hi.
Logan.
You look fantastic.
Well, that gives a whole new meaning to the word fantastic, doesn't it?
How long has he been out?
Well,
Look, you can ask me, all right?
You hush. I am asking your brother.
not too long.
He's filling me in on the details.
Pretty scary, wasn't it?
Look, I'm gonna leave him in your capable hands. You keep resting, Ridge. You're on the way back now.
Yeah. And thanks, Thorne.
Thanks? Thanks for what?
For being here. Keeping the faith.
And where did you think I'd be? Watching football at home? take good care of it. We need him at work.
I will.
You know, he was very worried about you.
Yeah, he's one hell of a brother.
You're determined to scare me to death, aren't you?
Wasn't too bright, was it?
Getting shot? No. It was about the dumbest thing you could have done.
Well, you always told me I had a hole in my head.
Not very funny.
Who could have done this to me, Logan?
I can't begin to imagine. It sure can't be somebody that knows you.
True. Because to know me is to love me.
You're getting better already, I can tell.
Well, it's been lonely here.
What are you suggesting?
There's room for two.
You're serious, aren't you?
Seriously hungry for you.
What if somebody walks in?
Then we'll charge admission. What's wrong?
When I think of how close we came to losing you.
Not being able to see that beautiful face again, I'm glad I didn't die.
It's really nothing to joke about.
Who's joking? I'm seriously feeling how wonderful it is to be alive.
There are many ways to feel wonderful to be alive.
Yeah? Tell me about some. Or better yet, try some on me.
You are impossible.
Well, I've been out of action for a while.
Did I ever tell you how much I love you?
Oh, Logan, I knew you were in love with me before you even met me.
What conceit?
Come here. Who could have done this to me? Who?
Well, alcohol or drugs could certainly cause loss of memory, especially with habitual use.
What about an incidental use?
You mean if a fella just goes out and gets drunk one night?
Yes. Exactly that sort of thing.
Yes, well, if he drank enough, it could certainly cause him not to remember what he said or did.
And would the exact same thing happen to the person if they were under the influence of drugs?
Well, again, it depends on which drug and the amount consumed. But basically, that's true.
And a combination of drugs and alcohol?
Then anything can happen. Loss of memory, coma, even death.
Anything.
You're not having a problem with drugs, are you? Or anyone close to you?
No. No. You know me. I'm just always curious about things that are medical. Let me ask you something else.
Okay.
If a person had a combination of alcohol and drugs, and that combination induced a loss of memory, could that loss of memory be permanent?
Combining alcohol and drugs is a very dangerous behavior. But if you're asking me if I've ever heard of a case where there was permanent loss of memory, no, I haven't.
But is it possible?
It's possible, but it's not very likely.
Why do you say that?
The brain is a very regenerative organ. It's constantly producing new cells.
In other words, you're saying like the pathways that carry memory. If I understand you correctly, you're saying that they can be regenerated?
Precisely. Provided the right stimulus is there.
What do you mean by the stimulus?
Well, a familiar face or name, even the recreation of an event.
Oh, kind of like amnesia. If a person were placed in exactly the same place in a recreation of the event.
Yes, even that could possibly trigger the memory or the recall.
Brain's fascinating, isn't it? Well, I've got to go. I wanted to feed her lunch. Would you mind getting her tray for me?
Well, of course not. I'll be right back.
Thank you. My God. Thorne could remember. In all probability, one day he could actually remember Shooting Ridge.